Counter-Strike in all of its existence has always come with intended and unintended features that we accept as normal, even if unrealistic at times. That's the beauty of game development, but in the case of Wallbangs, a seemingly normal mechanic we all know has an interesting history within the older title. It's absolutely infamous for being supposedly very broken, and if you don't know what I mean, observe. This is really not a bug, just an exploit, and I'm not being harsh by calling it such because it is. Not because I'm so mad from dying to an enemy I never saw, just believe me at how totally not mad I am about it. Right, so bullet penetration is a natural and realistic feature in most FPS games. It makes sense to shoot a thin wall or light material and have your bullets still do some damage on the other side. CS obviously includes this in every title. The difference is, CS 1.6 in particular is iconic for being paper thin, able to penetrate seemingly thick concrete or metal and end up scoring some frags without the enemy ever knowing what hit them. Has anyone ever wondered how and why this happens? Yeah, that would be me of course, so let's find out. This exploit sounds broken and completely unfair to the untrained eye, but if you played 1.6 long enough, it will seem almost completely normal, perhaps even an entire skill set. We are so used to it after all. In contemporary CS, there are lots of guides and clear definitions of bullet penetration behavior, but back in 1.6, things are similar but simpler and weird. Is it explained anywhere? Surprisingly not. So me and my community of people who probably know more did some research to bring forth this information and unravel once and for all. For the record, I'm not a professional game developer or gold source expert, and just a guy wanting to understand, so if I get anything wrong, I'm sorry in advance. CS 1.6 has been reverse engineered by the community, so we have source code to look at that's not 100% accurate but doable. And in it, we can find a function called firebullets3, which contains almost everything relating to shooting. In here, we can see a list of each caliber's penetration power and penetration distance, all in units. The higher the power, the more damage dealt on the other side. There are no variables for wall thickness. For unit distance, this simply dictates that beyond this number, bullet penetration will not happen. Now on to material. Gold Source does feature a variety based on their texture type. There is a materials file where each has a designated letter, and most textures CS comes with have one assigned. W is for wood, so a texture with W in front of it in-game will make a wooden sound and effect. If a texture does not have a letter, then it's concrete by default. Dust 2, as an example, using custom textures, is all concrete, which is why shooting anything makes the same decal and sound. You can blame MacMan on that. This matters to us because different materials have different penetration written in the code, but as you can see, it isn't written for all of them or are missing something. The two values are penetration power for how far the tracer goes through a wall, and damage modifier is obviously for how much a tracer will hurt. It's unknown to me why concrete and wood only have one value, because both of these very common materials do the same damage all around. Metal, grate, tile, and vent have a clear definition with the highest damage reduction. I guess there's also computer, but we don't really ever see that. Oh, also, if there are two separate walls, bullet tracers will not go through the second. If two walls are stuck together, they will count as one. With all of that out of the way, here's the burning question. Why me shoot big wall and do nothing here, but shoot big wall there and destroy enemy? The Gold Source engine has these things called leaves. Using a BSP Viewing program, I can show them to you, and they are these pink boxes all over the place. A leaf, or visleaf, is a hollow volume in a map which defines a cluster of visible spaces. They are automatically calculated when a map is compiled for in-game playability. Now, since they define space, this helps facilitate bullet penetration, but only under certain conditions. Let's have two players with a wall between them. For a headshot wallbang with an op to happen, here's how the pink boxes should exist. Both players will always be standing in a pink box, big or small. If the wall is surrounded by its own box around the outside, does not have its own box, everything is in one whole box, wallbangs will occur as normal. However, if one of the boxes goes inside the wall, no wallbang from either side, because the box sees the inside as an out-of-bounds area. area. The same thing will happen if exclusively inside the wall there's a box. Therefore, as long as a leaf is not identifying void, nothing can stop the bullet tracer from going through. Except travel distance, but that is very uncommon. This means, hypothetically, you can have bullet penetration occur through a very large wall. Unrealistic, yes, but also unlikely, as somewhere in that vast empty space, the tracer will hit a void leaf that deletes bullets. To explain further, while giving real examples, let's use good old Dust 2, since it's been studied to death. Also, before the words pink box become repetitive or some Gold Source dev pulls their hair out, I will be properly referring to them as leaves. Let's start with this famous B Wallbangs CT's love shooting. On one side, there is a leaf. On the other side, there is also a leaf. But inside the wall, there's nothing, so the bullet goes through. Contrary to that, the wall and tunnel to the right is not penetrable, because this leaf goes inside, registering void, so nothing happens from both sides. This stack of boxes next to T-spawn are mostly not penetrable. Leaf on the left, right, and most importantly middle, creating void. So the only way to penetrate is by shooting at an angle that doesn't go through the middle of it. This wall between long A and upper mid has, on most of it, one big leaf, but this small section here has a leaf that sees void. So guess what happens, kids? 1/3 of it is not penetrable. Yay! I genuinely hope you understand. Now let's talk about the wall next to it that is a very peculiar case. This T-spawn wallbang works because leave here, nothing in here, leave here. But when shooting further into it, around the tunnel from either side, it also works. But here's the catch. One leaf here, and before you ask where the void is to stop the bullet, check it out. It's connected to another one on the other side that's in a similar situation. So what I think happens is they are communicating the existence of visible space but not the out-of-bounds area, so it can be penetrated. But why only with an op? I do not have the brain cells to unravel that. Finally, in case you were wondering, all the doors are normally penetrable because their outside is always surrounded by a leaf. Of course, there are some anomalies in specific situations across all maps because some things are not brushes, but that's the gist of it. It mostly depends on the leaf placement. From there, wall material and weapon caliber. I'm starting to think that people may be right. It's not a bug, just a feature, but it still involves exploitation. And how can these issues be fixed? I think it kind of already is. To get better visleaf placements, we just need better compilers. People have made a lot of them over the years, which is why in newer maps, paper walls don't really exist. Somewhere they probably do, but that's a matter of someone finding them. As for the classic maps, it's possible to just recompile them, but that would mean someone needs to decompile them first, which leads to inconsistencies, so to be accurate we need the original files from their makers that may not exist. On to a more gameplay-oriented question. Are wallbangs really that OP and broken? Not entirely, because in a 5v5 pug, mostly you'd be wasting ammo and revealing position. Predicting player locations and spamming them to death is possible, but doesn't pay off consistently enough to be considered a huge problem. Lots of legendary moments came from it though. In a community server with lots of people, yeah, the odds are more in your favor. Getting lucky frags is fun after all. Even funnier when people get mad at you. Sometimes they won't believe it when you hit a crazy shot and ban you. I swear, this has happened to me. Before someone says it, no, let's not bring this back to modern CS. It's fine the way it is, being not just realistic but fair. I do think the old ways did have influence. There are a lot of places on maps where walls are intentionally thin. Besides, it's more interesting to watch two players shoot at each other rather than one of them trying to predict their enemy's position. The cardboard walls of CS 1.6 are uniquely iconic. Everybody knows them and either hates or thinks it's the best thing in the universe. But due to the lack of a few more safeguards to balance it out, we are left with a looming concern over where exactly we are standing so we don't get coincidentally fragged. Okay, I think it's time to go look for my misplaced USB cable. They always get lost somewhere at home, but I never know where or even know how to begin.